I wanted to make a little video to remind you guys about Xbox factoring if you've forgotten the basics of it. Step one is that we're always going to factor out any common factors. If you do not look to factor out the common factors first, this won't work. You're going to end up with the wrong answer. Second, we draw our form, X and box, which is where it got its name. In order to do this, we have to be in standard form. So we're talking about y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. In this top part of the x, I'm going to multiply a times c. In the bottom of the x, I'm going to put b. B bottom, b basement, b goes on the bottom. In this first box, I'm going to put the first term. And then the last box, I'm going to put the last term. Third, we're going to look for two numbers. They have to multiply to make AC, and they have to add to make B. Now, I think at this point, let's go ahead and do an example. I think it's going to be beneficial to kind of see how this works. If we take this example, y equals 12x squared minus 38x plus 30. First thing we always need to do, are there any common factors? Well, these are all even numbers. So I know right off the top that I'm going to be able to factor out at least a 2 because they're all even. All right, so now they're not even anymore. I've got to look here. 6 is divisible by 3. 15 is divisible by 3. 19's not, though. Okay, good. I think I got all the factors out. That's awesome. Now, when I go to do the Xbox part, I'm not going to worry about that 2 anymore. I'm just going to worry about this here. So I'm going to set up my Xbox. X box 6 times 15. All right, 6 times 15 is 90. And then B goes in the bottom. I put the first term in the first box and the last term in the last box. All right, so now I'm set up and I'm ready to do kind of the magic part. It has to multiply to make 90 and add to make negative 19. Okay, so the only way to multiply to get 90 and add to make a negative number is if they're both negative. Negative times a negative is positive. But let's just say I don't know what these numbers are. So I can go ahead on the side and create a little factor tree. 90 is 1 times 90, or 2 times 45, 3 times 30, 4 doesn't work, 5 times 18, 6 times 15, 7 doesn't work, 8 doesn't work, 9 times 10, and now I'm out of numbers because the next number I would do is 10, and it's right here. And I need to make negative 19. So I need two numbers that are going to add together to make negative 19. Well, I'm going to go down here and I can see that, hey, 10 and 9 make 19. So if they're both negative, negative 9, negative 10, then that's going to multiply to make the 90 on top and add to make the negative 19 on the bottom. So now I'm going to take these two terms and put them in these two boxes. It doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to give them an X as well. Hard part's kind of done. Now the easy part. I'm going to look at each column and each row and see what they have in common. So if I look at this first column, Well, they're both divisible by 3, and they both have an x. I'm going to look at this one. They're both divisible by 5. And that doesn't have an x, so that doesn't work. Now, the thing you have to remember is it takes the sign of whatever box it's touching. So since it's touching this box and this box is negative, this is negative. Now I'm going to look at this row. They're both even. They have 2 in common, and they both have an x. Remember, this one's touching a positive box, so it stays positive. This one here, they're both divisible by 3. And that's a negative box, so this is going to be negative. And that's my factor form, 3x minus 5 and 2x minus 3. The only thing you have to remember is, hey, remember back in the beginning, we factored this 2 out? We need to go ahead and bring it back and put it in front. And put our little y equals. And that's our final answer. That's fully factored using Xbox method. Now, a couple of little things you can do to check this that I always like to do. This number 15 right here, if you multiply this number and this number, they have to make this corner box. So -3 and -5 do make positive 15. I feel pretty good about that. And this first box, this times this, have to make this. So 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one too. It actually works for all the boxes, but I like to check those first and second boxes. Now, the extension on this. This is if they're asking you to factor fully. Look, we factored it, yay. If they're asking you to find the zeros or solutions or roots or factors, then the only other thing I need to do is to take each of the parentheses and set them equal to 0. So I'll take the 3x minus 5 and set it equal to 0, and the 2x minus 3, set it equal to 0, and solve. Add 5, divide by 3, add 3, divide by 2. So if it's asking me to factor, we're done there. But if it's asking me to find the zeros, then we have to go a little bit further.